on
Okay.
on the thingamajigs. Welcome to Coffee Hour, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being flexible with my little timing mishap.
Mhm.
I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for showing up. What were we just talking about, Sandra? Nutrition, big rocks. Yeah, that's the concept I go back to all the time. Do you know the story of the professor that walks into class with a jar, an empty jar, and he fills it up with these big rocks. And he asks the class, "Is the jar full?" And they go, "Yeah, there's rocks all the way up to the top." And he goes, "Wait 1 second." And then he pours all these little pebbles in there and fills in all the cracks between the big rocks. And he asks again, "Now is the jar full?" And they say, "Oh, you got me. Ha ha ha. Sneaky professor. Yes, now it's full." And then he takes sand, dumps a bag of sand in there and just fills in even those smaller cracks. And they're like, "Okay, we get the point, goofball. You can't fit anything else in there. It's full." And then he says, "Well, there's always room for coffee." And he dumps his coffee in there, fills that up to the top. Point is, if you were to fill that thing with sand first and focus, like if you focus on all the little things, then you're not going to be able to fit the big rocks in. So you always take care of the big rocks first. And when it comes to nutrition, that is there's a place, no more place that is more true than with nutrition. If you're focusing on, um, what's some of the sand when it comes to nutrition? Like supplements and, getting enough vitamin C or vitamin A in a little pill. But you're not, but you're eating like processed food all day long and drinking a bunch of alcohol and you live on caffeine, your multivitamin's not going to do much, right? You got to take care of the big rocks first. And for me, it's and how I teach it, it's get rid of intolerances. Anything that's inflammatory for you, or that you're intolerant to, um, or that is processed, because those are generally inflammatory and full of anti-nutrients and just screwing up your gut and all those other things. Get rid of those first. That's the bottom foundation of the pyramid. Then you focus on essentially focus on protein and water. Like get enough water, eat enough protein. Then you can focus on the macronutrient breakdown of your food. Fill it in with carbs and fats. And then you can focus on micronutrients in that order.
Or we follow what your shirt is suggesting.
And just eat pie all
Oh.
day long. Yeah, we could do that too. It's almost Thanksgiving, so it's almost pie day.
Can I ask a question or two? Comment and question. Well, one comment is this, like I said, I had a really hard year and my it was so hard to eat. I just really didn't like food was and I started making myself eat more regularly and I already feel so much better. So that
Good.
was a big rock. But I am curious about, I know on your video you had about testing your heart rate
Hmm.
and temperature. And I'm confused about some of the tests for intolerance because I took one and it listed like some of the things that I was intolerant of were things I eat all the time, like almonds
Yeah.
and eggs. And then the things that I seem to be intolerant of, which I know about, are bell peppers and garlic, didn't show up on the test. So
Probably
then,
don't those very often, do you?
not anymore.
Right.
So
So
is the test really testing intolerances or is it testing your reaction? Like there's,
yeah,
Your reaction to the food you eat.
It's a
I
good
mean,
question.
yeah.
So most allergy or sensitivity tests are testing like IgG markers, which is kind of your immune response to an allergen or a food product or whatever. Um, the drawback with those is that it's a blood test, and if you have a leaky gut and food particles are getting into your bloodstream, then your immune system will attack those food particles and create like antibodies for them. So it looks like you're intolerant to them. So it's probably more likely that you just have like some gut permeability, and those foods that you're eating all the time, some of them are leaking out, and so your immune system is like attacking them to get rid of them. So it shows up as intolerances. Are they creating some inflammation and some, negative effects in your system? Yes. Are you actually allergic or sensitive or intolerant to them? Uh, maybe not. If you healed your gut, you'd probably go back to being fine with them. The bell peppers and the garlic, you're not eating them, so they're not showing up on the test.
Mhm.
So to me, and this happens quite often, people go and have one of those tests and they're like, I'm allergic to everything. What's going on? And it's like, I don't know about that. I don't think you're actually sensitive to all these foods. I think you just have a leaky gut. So, Joe, you got something to
Yeah,
say?
definitely.
Go for it.
The leaky gut is probably a good insight. Like I never thought of it from that perspective before. But what I learned from Dr. Roby Mitchell was you basically don't have the right stomach acid. And what I learned from Dr. Dillard is if you don't have the right stomach acid, you screw up your bile. If you screw up your bile, you screw up your stomach acid. So for me, the big rocks are strengthening your gut. Like, what are you doing to get your bile moving? What are you doing to strengthen your stomach acid? And that looks differently for everyone. So then there's just kind of it's the test. It's like, how are you eating? What are you eating? Is this good? Is it not? Are you eating all of the same things 365 days a year? Or are you eating things in like a cycle with the seasons that would be natural? Fasting in the spring, more fats in the fall and winter, more heavy carbs in the fall and winter, right? Because those are the things that would just be. Now Hawaii is a little bit different, but in the Midwest, right? Like it's what are these things that are naturally there, and then avoid, like I buy all my pasta type stuff from Italy because Italy has the safest regulations for
Mm.
not having the stuff that's going to cause more of the gut damage. And, I mean, even the intermittent fasting at this point, you're getting into the autophagy. So you're getting into kind of like eating the bad cells so that the good cells can be healthier, right? So there it's just the right balance for the individual. Like, is fasting more of a route that's going to help that person start to strengthen their stomach and improve it? Does the person need more sodium in their diet, like getting sodium bicarbonate going to be really helpful for them? Or the 5 digestive spices, ginger, fennel, cardamom, or cumin, cardamom, and coriander are like the 5 digestive spices that from like the Ayurvedic world where they're like, get this going. And then getting your bile moving, it could look like green apples, it could look like beets, it could look like fennel, or it could be healthy fats. Like Dr. Roby Mitchell, his big thing go to was black seed oil. And so you're getting kind of like the cumin side of it, but then you're getting the healthy fat side of it to get the fats moving. Dr. Dillard, he loves ghee because he says that the butyric acid that's in ghee is what the healthy gut back microbes in our gut want. Um, other people talk about coconut oil because it goes through the liver differently, so it helps you start to process these things better. I like muscle testing, so for myself, I've just kind of dialed into like, should I do this right now? Yes, no, okay, move on. But I also went through like years of being really anally strategic for 2 weeks to a month at a time. So, but how the gut changes to me has been the most wild part of the entire journey and ride of it all. Is like, once you kind of do some of these different things and then you're putting things in and you're taking them out and you're putting them in and you're taking it out, and it's like the short term versus the long term, like 10 years later. And it's just like, wow, like the body's digestive system is really, really cool. So yeah, it's cool to get those tests done. Probably means that you have bad stomach acid. Probably means it's the foods that you're currently eating all the time. Leaky gut sounds like a really good insight, just because of the glyphosates and so much stuff. How do you avoid it?
Heck yeah. A lot of great
Thank you.
insights. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, yeah, big picture,
Uh,
healing gut, which is I've had my own issues with that. It can seem wildly complicated, but
The other thing that you spoke to that I would disagree with, which was where you put the micronutrients.
yeah, well, we don't allow disagreements here, so what I say is gold always.
Because the micronutrients, like in the metabolic flex diet, when I learned that stuff from Dr. Mike T. Nelson,
Mm.
it's like there's only so much research that says, hey, go and do this. But then you learn about people like Dr. Prasad, who gets billions from governments to do his research. He's in his 90s, and everything that he does is about protecting the body from radiation and EMFs, and it's all based on micronutrients.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're not important, but I'm saying so think about somebody who is just starting their like fitness and weight loss journey, you know. What I'm saying is it more important for them to focus on their micronutrients, or is it more important for them to like consistently eat real food?
I don't know. I think it depends.
Okay,
I'll
a
use me as an
magnesium.
example.
Well,
Yeah.
go
So,
ahead, Sandra.
go- no, like really, I just, for almost a year, I just didn't want to eat. And it was really hard just to get food in my system, which was really bad. I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of muscle. My nervous system was just so jacked up. And I needed to calm myself. And then I just started eating, like trying to eat simple, basic foods. And I started feeling so much better right away, very quickly when I
So were
finally was
you,
able to do that. And I wasn't eating junk, but if I had focused, so it's also psychologically, if I had focused on getting all the right nutrients and the right micronutrients and everything, that would have been overwhelming for me.
yeah,
And I
that's
wouldn't have been
my
able to
point.
do it. So yeah, so it could have been, maybe it would have been better if I had all those nutrients, but the amount of emotional, psychological energy to get them would have almost prevented me from eating because it would have been overwhelming.
And that's my main point in my ranking system is simplicity. Because here's part of where it comes from too, Joe's. When I start working with somebody, I in the past, Brenda might be able to talk to this too. I tend to throw a lot of things at you. Okay, I want you to do this 500-page list of things to improve your health, right? Start right now, do them all. And it becomes quickly overwhelming for people. So in my career, everything that I've been doing is always comes back to like, paring away the sand like an archaeologist, like brushing away the dirt to get to the rocks underneath. And just trying to simplify to set a foundation. That's all, and then build upon it. Like, and in that, I think sometimes there are things you have to sacrifice that might be better for them in the long run in order to just get them going in the short term, right? Like we need quick wins, and then we can focus on that more detailed stuff as soon as possible, right? But we need the quick wins first. That's mostly where that philosophy comes from. I see Brenda is on and in.
And I would agree with that. We all know that I overthink a lot of things in life.
I think that comes with being a narrow-minded like person. There's a
I
lot
just want to throw
going
in,
on.
just for that, I don't want to talk too much, but just throw in one thing, like Joe, if you would have been around to say, here, eat this, eat this, eat this, then I would be all over all the micronutrients. But it was just, so that's how I'm thinking about it. Like if I had someone who like made the food and gave it to me and it was really good quality, then that would have been great. But I don't have, I mean, not many of us have that luxury.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just that again speaks to, my thought process in that too. Like Joe definitely, maybe more than all of us combined, has got knowledge in this area. And so sometimes this is me when it comes to athletic performance and movement. I have never been in my entire life a bad mover, if that doesn't sound too like braggadocious. I just understood it. I just got movement, and I was a tremendous athlete since day one. And so that and like fitness and that stuff came so natural to me that when I started coaching, I was not a good coach because I was talking over people and I was just breezing by all the really fundamental things that I just understood innately. And so I had to really like rein myself back in and like, okay, hold on. Like we need to get to basics and understand the fundamentals and go back to that because that's where most people need the most help. And I'm kind of talking beyond where they are at the moment, right? Have you ever heard that? Like, a lot of times the highest level athletes are terrible coaches because they're so far beyond where the normal person is at that they can't even speak to what they need. It's like, oh no, you just need to do this, and like, jump over this 10-foot pole and just, run 24 miles an hour to get to the next thing. It's easy. I do it every day. Why can't you do it? You know? So, I know for me that was a big eye opener early on in my career. But the nutrition stuff, that was not my thing. I didn't get that. And so I had to start at a very basic level and learn it from the ground up. And I had a lot of struggles, so that's part of where all that comes from too. So what's up, Dr. Brenda?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh, good, good.
welcome.
Yes, I'm sorry I was late.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I was an hour late, so.
No, you were on time. Yeah. Yeah, nothing much up other than got a new puppy.
Yes,
Nice.
she's beautiful too.
She's very
Sheltie?
small.
Is that what she
Yeah,
is?
she's a
Yeah.
little black and white Sheltie puppy. And so I've been up since 3 a.m. this morning, but you're no stranger to that, I'm sure.
I am not a stranger. No.
But I think I'm kind of thriving on it, to be honest. Yeah, I had one of the high, I wear this Whoop band, and I had one of the highest overnight HRVs in months. This overnight last night, it was like 67 or something. And I think so, waking up at 3 a.m. and going outside in the cold 45-degree temperature and sitting on a bench and waiting for a dog to pee. Apparently it's good for me. So other than that, I'm actually overall doing really, really well, and excited to be on the call today. And I'm sorry I missed other people's discussion topics. I guess I will say that we've been doing a lot of traveling and we've had health issues, so I have not had a whole lot of exercise for like the last 3 months or so. And I'm really looking forward to getting back into that. I mean, just mostly aerobic. I feel like I'm really at a deficit on that. So that's kind of a priority for this week. Also, I'm going to be starting back into my Tai Chi on Thursday afternoon, and I haven't been doing that consistently either. So this week is kind of a big reset, but I'm actually excited and really looking forward to getting back on track, getting some traction, making some
Yeah.
progress.
Good, good. Well, what I would do is go to a CrossFit class and try to work yourself till you throw up.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I would do that 20 years ago, but now I wouldn't do that. No,
Yeah, no, I don't think I would do that anymore. In
no,
my youth, maybe.
it's counterproductive for me.
Very
But
counterproductive for everyone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so true. But I mean, even I'm having this impulse to jump in the swimming pool, not jump, but like ease myself into some really cold water, and get sort of a lot of inflammation out of the body. And I feel like drinking a lot of water and, just eating really simple food and, just letting my body tell me what I want to do, what it wants me to do.
I 100% think you should trust that intuition. All
Yeah.
of those.
I'll let you guys know if I make it into the pool, which is probably running in the 50s right now. So my own personal cold plunge.
It's the best. It's the only reason to have a pool. It's for the
Cool.
winter.
Yeah, for sure. I just might do it. But if I do that, I'll let you guys know. If I don't do it, I will not let you know.
Where are you located?
In Phoenix,
Okay.
Arizona. Yeah, I just took that for you made that assumption that yeah, it's not like it's 2 degrees here. So
It's been chilly last week though. It's been amazing.
yeah.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt, for goodness sake. First time all year.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's crazy.
I'm waiting for a FedEx package and then I'm driving to Phoenix.
Oh,
Are you gonna be here for the live training this weekend?
No, I fly to Mexico to swim with dolphins for dolphin energy medicine.
well.
Cool. Love it.
And then I'll be there for live training in December.
Cool.
Honestly, anytime I'm in the ocean, it's mana, right?
Mm. Yes, healing.
Yeah.
Sandra, do you spend much time in the ocean?
This is jealous.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
So that's the advantage of one thing about everything changing. My friend said, "Hey, come live with me." And this is where she lives.
That's a good friend to have.
So
Yes.
where is
So,
that?
Maui.
Oh, there you go. Girl,
But
girlfriend.
so I've been trying to go. When I first got here, it was too cold for me. Like my system, and I know I'm not meaning to complain, but it was just, I'm super sensitive to cold. So just the past really the past 2 weeks, I've been going in more. It's warmer right now, but my plan is I do feel better. Like I've been doing a little bit of your cold shower thing, and I hate that, but I've been doing it, and I do notice a difference. So I got a wetsuit. I know, not my, I got a wetsuit,
Okay.
but I've been going in without the wetsuit right now. I think this
Yeah.
time of year, and I'm hoping as long as I can stay here, I can use that to be really helpful for me.
Yeah, it's all graded exposure.
Yeah.
So, in flow, we talk about the 4% rule, right? For the challenge and skills balance. You can apply that to
Wow.
everything, right?
I don't know that rule.
You don't know that one? Okay, so
4%? No.
this is it's not like set in stone, but when they looked at tons of different flow activities and creativity activities and problem solving and blah 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 blah, they figured out that around 4% beyond your current skill level is kind of the magic spot where it's hard enough to push you into flow, but not too hard to cause like anxiety or whatever.
Hmm.
So that's kind of where the flow channel sits in challenge and skills. But it doesn't necessarily have to just be in like a flow activity. I would say this is true across all realms of personal growth and development and physiology. You could apply this to strength training. If you squatted 100 pounds last week, this week, maybe you squat 104. Push it 4%. And they've actually done pretty good amounts of research in this realm specifically, as far as strength development and muscle hypertrophy and those things. And the percentages are a little bit different. But I like simplicity. So I would just say 4% across the board. So maybe your cold showers, if you did 10 seconds the first week, maybe you push it to 11 seconds. Right? I mean, that's a 10% increase. That's a little much, but 10.5 seconds. But at those small amounts, you could probably take 11 seconds. But when you go on the ocean, you can apply that principle as well. Maybe you only got up to your knees last time and you were in there for a minute. Maybe this time you go up to your mid-thigh for a minute. Right? So how can you apply 4% to anything that you do? That's the golden rule of flow. The more we can think about that and the things that we do and measure that in whatever way you can, the more you're going to find flow in weird little areas. And the big thing is you continue progressing. So that's the 4% rule.
Thank you.
You know what
That's
else
very helpful.
What else is pretty cool about your situation, Sandra, is you get the vision safety of being able to like look out over the ocean, right? You get all of the micronutrients and like cleansing of your aura when you get in the ocean. You get all the negative ions that blow in off the ocean.
Yeah, for real.
So
Big
a
stack.
lot of good stuff for your circumstances, definitely right there for sure.
And I would say also that it's the freshest air on earth.
Mhm.
It's such clean, perfect air. And just sitting on the beach and just breathing is huge. It's so great.
Yeah.
No, I moved here 7 years ago because I was feeling awful, and I came here on a vacation with my dad at the time, and I felt much better, and I thought, oh, this is just because I'm not working, I'm not stressed. And then I came again 2 years later and I had the same experience. I was like, no, this is completely different. And then I just decided to move here because if I wasn't feeling good physically, and I was doing all the other, like I was doing the big rock stuff pretty much, but I was living in the Bay Area, which is very stressful on many levels. And so, and also I'm very light sensitive. So Brandy, I don't need to talk about it too much, but artificial lights. So that's why living in Minnesota in the winter is awful.
Yeah, it's tough.
And so it's really amazing how I do come here and I feel better right away. I was gone for the summer or for like 5 months, and I came back, and within a week I felt so much better.
Yeah.
So I wish I could offer that. Everyone could have that experience.
I wish you could bottle that and send it to me, because
Yeah.
the desert doesn't really do it for me.
No,
But as soon as I get into the mountains,
you,
I
yeah,
feel better. The mountains or the beach.
yeah,
Yeah. Or really next to any body of water, especially moving water like a river. But a lake also is wonderful. But nothing tops the beach and the
Got to get
ocean.
out on the salt more.
I mean, yeah, sure.
It's awesome.
So
It
Sandra,
is. I love the Salt River, but it's not as convenient as, um, well, it's more convenient than a lot of things, but Phoenix is really not that bad. There's some water around here. There's some mountains close by. You have to make a concerted effort to get out there, though. That's my problem. I'm not making the effort. Back home in Montana,
yeah.
it was
Out the
easy.
door.
I lived on one. Brenda, what were you gonna say?
I was going to ask Sandra if you've tried Hula.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I love Hula.
Yeah,
I love
that
Hula.
that is such a great practice for for movement and just for general well-being. And it's a lovely community of people too. So
Yeah. Do you have experience with it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to do a lot of hula. Actually, I stopped a few years ago primarily because of vestibular problems. Um,
Mm.
And now, so subsequently, now I do Tai Chi, which is very hula-like. I mean, it's a martial art, which hula is fundamentally a martial art as well. Um, so, I've just sort of transitioned to a different thing, but they're very similar in a lot of ways. It's all requires balance, requires strength,
Mhm.
requires, practice, commitment.
Besides the
And
pelvic movements, I would say they're very similar.
Yeah.
And they're like fluid and almost like non-stop but slow and controlled movements of the rest of the body,
Mhm.
while the pelvis really is like, doing its thing.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
an
even
interesting.
that is it's more it can be fast in hula too, depending on, the
Mm,
music. It can be, a little bit more forceful. And there are a lot of men doing hula too, and it's a little bit of a different kind of movement. But yeah,
mm.
it's very, especially, outside and fresh air, with
Yeah.
friends and that kind of thing.
and
So cool.
yeah, all the joint mobility, like in
Yes.
the right, all the basics of like the mentorship quarter 1 where they just, I don't know, Brenda, have you been in, you're familiar with the mentorship or that next level neuro
No.
stuff? That's me and Joe. No, that's where
Yeah.
I studied. Like the first quarter, they do lots of joint mobility, like
Ah.
every single joint and how important that is. And I think Hula does that, but it also does a lot of chanting. So
Mhm.
there's the combination, like often people just think of it as dancing, but if you go to a hula class, it does a lot of chanting and frontal lobe work because you got to learn to chant in Hawaiian. So you're learning a new language and learning to chant and doing the dancing and being in community with other people who are very supportive.
Yeah.
So it is a really wonderful, like full body, full human experience
It is.
beyond just like the dancing part.
And the Hawaiian language is the most poetic language on earth. So everything has multiple meanings. And so it's all contextual, and it's just a very rich language, and it's very difficult. I mean, it's easy to say the words, but it's really hard to dive into the, underlying symbolisms and meanings. Hard yet easy, it's human. Anyway, we could get on this subject and,
Yes.
Somebody tell me the state fish of Hawaii.
Oh, humu humu, no, whatever. Humu humu, kumu kumu, no, what is it? Oh God, well.
You got it. You started right.
I
Yeah.
know, no. Why my brain just like, blipped on that one. Humu humu, nuku nuku, apua'a.
Is that it? Humu humu nuku nuku apuaha.
Correct. And then the Hawaii State motto is Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. And that means the life of the land is preserved in righteousness.
That's awesome.
Goosebumps.
So it sounds like you spent some time here,
Yeah.
Brenda.
Yeah, long story, but yes. And every day I wake up and I will turn on my Hawaiian music here in Phoenix, and that is in the background most of the day. And it just, takes me back to the islands.
So I never heard like really anything about, I've never been to Hawaii. But Dr. Brent Davis does living floral essences. So they're uncut. He doesn't cut the flower when he makes the floral essence.
Mm.
And he was telling me about his trip to Hawaii to grab some of the different local flowers to create some of the essences. And the place that he went into was supposed to be, it was like the last opportunity to go in there and get this richness because of developers were coming in and changing the area. And he said it was like one of the most powerful ceremonies he had ever had. And he just saw across the mountains like all these different spirits like show up and like strength of the land. And then he left and he went back there like 6 years later, fully expecting it to be gone. And the developers and everybody, all the money fell through, didn't work out. So like all the land was preserved for what it was supposed to be. So, and I always thought that was kind of a cool story when he told me, like, I was just like, that's kind of weird, but now you saying that and hearing that, that makes this story even cooler.
Nice. Yeah, very cool.
So Brandon, which of those pies on your chest is your favorite? Sorry,
I don't
Very
know if it's
distracting.
apple.
It's not really. It's good. Apple.
We could call this one, if we can call that huckleberry, that'd be my favorite.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's actually huckleberry, but you guys ever had a huckleberry?
I'm not sure I have.
They grow just in the Northwest,
Wow.
Pacific Northwest. They're a small berry, sweeter than a blueberry. They're kind of a little bit purplish in color, and they grow in like dense forests up there, and they're hard to get to. And so, well, bears love them also. Grizzlies love huckleberries. But anyway, we kind of grew up on them. We would go pick them, and my grandmother would make like all sorts of huckleberry, everything. Huckleberry jam, huckleberry pies and cakes, and huckleberry pancakes. Amazing. But anyway, of all the pies, huckleberry pie is probably my favorite. Apple pie is a close second. My aunt makes a sour cream apple pie.
Yum.
That's so good.
Berries are, see, that's one thing that we don't have berries here that I've discovered, like you have. And berries are so good for you. But I remember going to Canada. I was in Vancouver Island a couple of years ago, and I had never seen berries like that. I don't know if that's what it's like in Montana too. They're just, oh, it's further west. Like the amount of berries growing all over the place was just amazing.
Vancouver Island is incredibly wet, being so close to the ocean there, but so they definitely have more than we do in Montana, but especially around Glacier Park region. They're
Mhm.
kind of known for huckleberries and cherries.
Mhm.
So flathead cherries are like world famous. They ship them all over the world. They're kind of like a Rainier cherry a little bit, but again, a little bit sweeter. Um, mm, yes, they're very good.
Oh man, I'm getting hungry.
I think the same thing.
Oh, the richness. So good.
Is there thimble uh berries by
Thimbleberries?
you,
I don't think
Brandon?
so. I don't think I've ever had one.
The only time I'd ever seen it or heard of it, and it's similar as like the blueberries in the UP, but the Isle Royal, when I hiked, it's like federal land, Michigan land, biggest island in Lake Superior. And that was the first time that I'd run across all those berries. But
Hmm.
similar situation. Pretty cool though. I'm with you, Sandra. Berries are really good.
Hmm.
Mm.
So who has questions? Questions about health, fitness, neuro, flow states, or berries? Anybody coming up
Yes.
with any issues and struggles lately?
You know, I haven't participated in this call before, so I apologize if I'm going to go over something that you guys have already discussed in the past, but I could use maybe a little advice on getting myself back to sleep once I wake up in the middle of the night, particularly if I wake up because there's something really active that I have to go do, and then I get back in the bed, and then yeah, at that point I'm, pretty activated.
Hmm.
So, is there something neurologically, like a breathing technique, particularly, or any other kind of neuro skill that I could develop to help, bring down that energy level?
Hmm. Sure. Couple things come to mind. Number one, let me ask you this. What is causing you to wake up? And um yeah, we'll start there.
Well, obviously, the last week it's been our little dog,
Okay.
and but before that, I think I would tend to wake up if there was something maybe stressful that was going on during the day. And yeah, I wake up sort of feeling like I had unfinished business, like I
Yeah.
needed to sort it out before,
Hmm.
daylight kind of thing.
Okay. So couple things. Yeah, that's great information. So first thing I would do is journal before you go to bed
Good idea.
Hmm.
and resolve those issues
Ooh,
so that you have nothing unresolved that might wake you up. Um, and even sometimes it's just as easy as like a cognitive dump where you just list out all the things that are popping up into your brain. Get them out of your head onto paper. So I would do that first, and then I would go through your neuro like wind down or sleep routine. And I don't know if you and I have ever talked about that, but it's
no.
basically fuel and activation for your whole brain to help your lymphatic system work. It's magic. So you start with sensory input and lymphatic work,
Okay.
and then you do a couple of vestibular drills, a couple of visual drills, and then a couple integrated drills. And
Okay.
if you need suggestions, we can talk about that. But then the last thing is to be properly fueled before you go to sleep.
Ah, okay.
So for your last meal, which should be at least 2 hours before you go to bed, if it's a bigger meal, like dinner, should be more carb heavy than your other meals,
Okay.
just so you have that glucose all throughout the night. to
Yep.
feed your brain as it works.
Nice.
If you're waking up and having like stress chemicals being released like adrenaline, cortisol, hard to get back to sleep, that could be a
Yep.
fuel issue at night.
Ooh, interesting.
So just getting some fuel, like some coconut water or some orange juice, can oftentimes be enough to reduce threat, give your brain some fuel, and help you get back to sleep. And then managing your light. So if you do wake up and you have to do a thing because it's burning in your brain, make sure you're wearing blue light blocking glasses, or even better, don't turn on any lights. And lastly, you can do some drills when you wake up to help you get back to sleep. The drill stack before you go to sleep is an option, but oftentimes you don't need the whole thing. Something as simple as long exhale breathing or straw breathing can be good. Maybe stacking some humming with that and like a body scan.
Mhm.
Some people find like a yoga nidra or NSDR practice really helpful.
Love that.
So yeah, that's what I would do.
Thank you. Actually, that was quite comprehensive and amazing that it came right off the top of your head like that. So appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Sleep's one of my favorite topics because I've struggled with it for a long time. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is actually, there's some things in here that you've described that I have not done and I haven't thought of. So I'm
good.
pretty excited to try
Yeah,
it.
good. Hope they go well for you.
Yeah.
And if all else fails, just take a big, big old hit of weed, suck it down out of the bomb. I'll
There you
put you
go.
right to sleep. You might not wake up till noon, but
You
I'll tell
don't
John, I'll tell my husband, John, I need to put the bong over here, right?
Coach said get a bigger bong.
you won't hit the REM sleep though.
Yeah, that's the tough thing with cannabis.
Oh,
Helpful to get you to sleep, but it's disrupted sleep. It's not ideal.
Yeah. Since we got back from our trip, I've had the most intense, my husband and I both have had the most intense dreams, REM sleep, really, really super vivid. I think we were in Japan for a few weeks. And so there was so much stimulation in a good way. And so now we're just like frantically processing all of this new stimulation. And it's really fascinating. I'm just having the weirdest, most fun dreams that, just
Do
like
you
crazy.
record your dreams?
Record them?
Yeah.
No,
Mm.
but that would be fun.
It can be. I haven't done it successfully yet, but I'm very interested in lucid dreaming.
Hmm.
And there's some interesting books about lucid dreaming and dream yoga, which is kind of the same thing. But um, and if you're into meditation practices and spiritual practices and even like healing practices and manifestation, they say that lucid dreaming is the fastest way to enlightenment and to really help your body heal is to because you're essentially kind of tapping into your unconscious mind and directing it.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, really fascinating. I have some friends that have spontaneously had lucid dreams. And they talk about like flying through the world and you can do literally anything you want. And I've always just, wanted to have that experience, but for me, for whatever reason, it's been really difficult to do. But anyway, the practice of getting there is essentially it's very simple. It's you just start recording your dreams.
Mhm.
Like immediately when you wake up, you just start writing. anything that comes to mind from the dream in first person, like you are still living the dream.
Mhm.
Like I'm in the car racing down a highway that's a big spiral up into the heavens. Was an actual dream I had one time.
Cool.
But and the way you start to become conscious in your dream is you start to notice um like patterns or triggers. Like, oh, that dog is flying. That's weird. I must be dreaming.
Mhm.
Boom, that's when you wake up in the dream. And then you can, with practice, control it. So, pretty simple, but
Yeah, I used to do that when I was a kid.
hmm,
And I used to love to go to sleep at night because I was like, oh, good, what are we going to do tonight? And I was really good at that. And I went without that for years and years. And I usually am aware that I'm dreaming when I'm dreaming, but it's been a long time since I have, made an effort to control the dream. It's almost like I'm floating above the dream, watching it, like watching a movie or something. And
hmm,
I'm aware that all this stuff is going on and that I'm separate from it. But it's been a long time since I've controlled something other than don't go in the cave. I can choose not to go in the cave, that kind of thing.
yeah. Or you could choose to go in the cave.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
so the shoot, I can't remember his name. His name's Charlie, but he's a big guy in the lucid dreaming
Hmm.
space. Charlie Morley. Um, he's a lucid dream teacher, but he describes himself and others that he has taught this practice to, and some of the things that they've done, and for himself, some of the things he's done. He has essentially, you know, there's a couple big reasons you would want to actually use this as a practice. Number one, it speeds up your meditation practice, and you can access unconscious mind, and it's basically like a fast track to enlightenment. That's great. Awesome. Who wouldn't want to be more enlightened, right? Um, but
I'm a hedonist. Sorry.
in a more like, earthly sense, um, he claims that he healed his vision through lucid dreaming by
Wow.
directing like the dream and meditating in the dream, and directing energy at healing his eyes.
Wow.
And over a span of, 6 weeks or something, he went from crazy, horrible myopia to completely clear, like 20/10 vision. Also, the other thing that is really a big thing with him is shadow work in the dream. So confronting the shadow parts of ourselves, the unconscious limiting beliefs, the deep-seated fears, the demons that we all have, um, from whatever, childhood traumas, other traumas, whatever. Confronting those things in the dream, um, by his measure, is an incredibly powerful way to integrate those things, those parts of ourselves, and grow. So, at the end of the day, to me, it was like, oh, so I can actually use the third of my life that I'm sleeping as
Hmm.
another way to become the best version of myself. Like, that sounds tempting and super efficient. How about we do that? But I haven't done it successfully yet.
This is a very fascinating topic. You really hit on something for me with the vision, because as you might recall, my eyesight is really problematic, and I know that it's highly variable depending on, environment and what's going on. So it's
Mhm.
not a, structural issue with the eye. So I do think that it would lend itself to a more, a different kind of approach. And if it, even a slight improvement would be life-changing, honestly. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, if you already have experience being awake in the dream,
Mm-hmm.
it might not be a big stretch for you to, start to
Mm.
direct that in ways that might be beneficial for you.
Oh my gosh, how fun. It's just out there enough to be kind of, a fun thing to do, with no real expectation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, but hey, if you see an effect, then
Yeah. That's the
wouldn't that be
thing.
fascinating?
What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah,
And also, it might be pretty fun.
yeah, for sure. Okay, I'll be quiet for a while.
Okay. Now, what's the name again of the guy with the fixed his vision? That's
Charlie
very
Morley. He's got a British accent.
Say it again.
Charlie Morley.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Charlie Morley is his name. I
All
listened to his
right.
books actually on Hay House. I had the Hay House subscription for a while. If you don't know what Hay House is, it's like a publication house that mainly does like self-help and spiritual stuff. But I'll just put his,
Oh, from like Louise Hayes? Is that
yep,
something different? Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
Louise or yeah, Louise Hay. I just put his website in the chat.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Awesome.
It's
Um,
been interesting I'm around a number of people who have trouble sleeping, but as my brother says, sleep is my superpower. Like that's the
Good
one
for
thing, like
you.
Brandon, you said you always were a mover. Like I never had issues with sleeping, but I'm appreciating it more and paying more attention to it now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I could improve it too in many ways that I just never thought about because it hadn't been an issue for me.
Mm, good for you. I'm jealous.
Yeah,
I know.
I
I want
know.
to share that with everybody. Like I don't have like how I make that happen.
Yeah, I just lay
It's
down and like
opposite.
in 30 seconds I go to sleep. It's really
Yeah.
fun.
Man.
No, but I grew up with my father since the time he was about 40, actually until he got Alzheimer's, was could not sleep. And I think that's part of the reason it might be the main reason he got Alzheimer's because he would just get up multiple times every night. So
Yeah, if you're not sleeping, you're not cleaning.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that gunk builds up. Yeah,
yeah.
not good. All right. Thank you guys for being
There
here.
we go.
I do have to run, get to a call, but wonderful conversation as always. Thank you guys.
Thank you so
Appreciate the
much.
input.
I really,
Mhm.
yeah.
See you
Thank
around
Yeah.
the bend.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.
Aloha.
Aloha.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.